right, well, I do want to be respectful of everyone's time this afternoon, so I am going to go ahead and do a quick intro and then we can get started. So thank you for joining us for course 6, customer reviews, why you need them and how to get them with Grow Marketing and Communications. We do have Natalie here to present to us today. So thank you to everyone who joined us for the previous 5 sessions. If you were not able to attend those, we do have those videos posted on our YouTube channel, and I will include that link in the follow-up email that you will receive tomorrow. That email will also include some resources that Natalie shares throughout the presentation, along with a PDF version of her presentation. So if you'd like to go back and revisit any of that information, you can. And it will also have a link to a recording of today's session specifically. So if you want to listen to it again, you can as well. You are welcome to ask questions. We just ask that you submit them via the chat box. We will keep an eye on that throughout the session, and we'll also make sure to address any of those that are left over once Natalie is done with her presentation as well. We do have a handful of community partners who have made today's session possible. So I'm going to include links to their websites in that follow-up email as well, so you can check out their organizations and the resources they have available. So at this time, I'll hand it over to Natalie and we can get started.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the introduction, and thank you all for joining us today for the last of the 6 courses for e-commerce marketing. Today we're going to talk about customer reviews because customer reviews are actually really important. I did a lot of data collection to come up with some stats to share with all of you to really drive home the point of how important customer reviews are. And what I'm finding is that customers really are reading online reviews today more than ever before. I found that 77% of consumers say they always or regularly read a review when they're looking for a local business. And that's up from like 60% in previous years. And so that's really huge for local businesses. They also say that 78% turn to the internet to find local business information more than once a week. And so if you didn't hear me say in a previous course that you should have a Google My Business profile for your business, hopefully that stat will drive you to create a profile on that platform. But really the takeaway is that reviews of your business matter to potential customers. And they matter because, on the one hand, great reviews really go a long way in promoting your business. But on the other hand, negative reviews can hurt the credibility of your business and keep customers away. And, we don't want disgruntled customers. And we know that negative reviews exist and they happen from time to time. But really, the majority of reviews are positive and they really will help you grow your business. 91% of consumers say they read online reviews regularly, 87%. They will go to a business that has 3 to 5 stars. And 78% say that they're going to turn to the internet to find local business information, like we said. So it's important, really important that you get reviews, get feedback. But how do you do that? So the good news is there's a lot that you can do. First thing is, well, start asking for reviews. That popular quote, if you don't ask, you don't get. Well, there's really a good reason. It rings true for most things, including customer reviews. Sometimes it can be a little intimidating to ask customers for these things. But, you'll end up getting more of them if you ask for them. 12% of customers say they've left a review every time a business asks them to. 23% say they've left a review more than half the time that they've asked them to. Those stats might sound low, like 12 and 23%, but really it starts to add up over time. And that is a pretty big deal for someone to do something without really getting anything in return for it. So, to lay the groundwork for your ask, there are a few things that you can do to make it more likely that your customers will take action when you ask for them to give feedback or a review. The first thing is that, if you have Google Maps, Google My Business profile, those things like that, make sure that you get that verified so that people can easily leave feedback for your business. A little side note about that, I work with a business in the suburbs of Chicago. And there is another business with the exact same name also in another suburb of Chicago. And that makes it very difficult for us sometimes to manage reviews. We definitely know when people are talking about the business that I work with versus the other one with the same name in a different suburb. So, really try to make sure that you include information, address, contact information, photos of the exterior and the interior of your business so that people know that they're going to the right place to leave a review. Another thing you can do is just send customers directly to your reviews page. If your customers feel like they have to take too many steps to leave you a review, they're not going to do it. Not saying that people are lazy, but they're kind of lazy. And so you should try to send them directly to wherever it is that you have it set up to receive reviews for your business. You can create a link that will take your customers directly to your reviews. If you go to Google, there's a link on the presentation. I doubt you can click it right now, but tomorrow when you get this from Jordan, you can click it and there's a whole step-by-step detailed instruction on how to get that link going just for your business. So I would highly recommend that you do that. Also, if you're sharing links to leave reviews, I always recommend using some kind of link shortener like Bitly or Rebrandly, that's a tongue twister, or a tiny URL. That way you can turn your link into something that's short or memorable, easier to share. That way it's not a super long URL in a social media post or something that you have printed. And speaking of printed, if you have in-person events or you have a brick and mortar business or you do pop-ups or things like that, you can create a QR code. There's all different places where you can create QR codes. There's a website called QR Code Generator, or there's an app within Canva that creates QR codes. You can put your link that you've created for your reviews in there, create a QR code, put it on a cute little placard or something that you can have at your point of sale or your checkout, and that way people can scan it and get on with their reviews. In my experience, there's a really small group of people that feel inclined to go review a business without being asked to do so. And typically, they're the ones who have had bad experiences with the business they intend to review. So if you're looking for tips to increase your reviews, you can't simply just like wave a wand from the review fairy. You're going to have to really make an effort to get those reviews and ask, or sometimes incentivize, but that's kind of the last ditch effort. So we'll get there in a minute. Like most things, you have to, really ask, like I said, ask, ask, ask. And here's some more tips for getting reviews. One is in an email, whether it's through an e-newsletter, an invoice, or a receipt that gets mailed out following an order, or it's embedded into like the signature line of your email. There's all sorts of ways to email to solicit reviews. And the best part is that it's totally free to do that. But the worst part of it is if it's not the main subject of the email, it'll oftentimes get missed. And so I updated my slide for this today because I received an email actually today, or maybe it was yesterday, from IHG Hotel Group asking how my stay was over the weekend. And I thought, well, that's timely considering I'm giving you this presentation today, and it really wanted me to let them know how they did. And so, I hadn't done a review with this hotel group before, even though we stay with this group all the time because my kids are in travel athletics. So I thought, why not? Let's see what happens. And so it took me about 2 minutes to, once I clicked that I loved my experience, then it opened up another page where it asked me a few more questions. So it wasn't just this one question, but they did tell me that if I review more often, I'll get more points on my IHG app for booking hotels and things. So that is an incentive to be able to do it. So I thought I'd put that as an example on there of what I got in my email. You could also put a call out for reviews on social media. So if you've, if you have Facebook or Instagram or other social media, we talked about social media in a past course, and you're willing to, maybe spend a few dollars for a giveaway or for a gift to someone who leaves a review. You can even run some Facebook ads targeted towards your customer list and get some more reviews to come in that way. Postcards are another option if you're mailing things out. I put a screenshot of a postcard that I worked on with my client, Confidentially Yours. We created these postcards so that when an order is packaged, the person receiving the package will see who it's from. And we put their little bit emojis on there and made them cute. And then on the back side, it has information about leaving a review. Printing things might seem a little old-fashioned, but really they do work. And it's just that extra touch as a small business that you can offer when you ship your things, your products out from your e-commerce business. And they don't cost very much to get printed either. You can change them up seasonally. And, since there's two sides, there's plenty of real estate on that postcard to be able to put lots of stuff that is helpful for your business and gets reviews. You can entice reviews through incentives. I don't always say that this is the best route to go because it's almost like you're paying them off to say something nice about you, or at least you hope it's going to be nice. But, and you don't want Google to think that you're soliciting inauthentic reviews from people. But there are ways to be able to incentivize it maybe on the first time that they leave a review, or maybe it's a referral or something like that. So kind of like what IHG did for me when I left the review. Lastly, and this is kind of expensive, but there is a service, a review collection service. It is very effective. One of my local service-based clients uses a review collection company that's integrated with their service scheduling system. So what happens, and I'm sure that you've all been a client of a service like this, where after the service, you're either emailed or texted an appointment reminder for your next appointment. And then a few days before you get another reminder, then they either let you know that they're on their way, or after the service is completed, they'll send you another text or an email asking to leave a review. My client, we've seen some really, really great success in this type of communication. Again, they're a service-based business, so not e-commerce, but there are opportunities to be able to do that, especially if you integrate with a system that gives you and the customer notifications of when a package is delivered, maybe a few hours after that, either an email or a text message that says, hey, your package has been delivered. What did you think? Would you like to leave a review? Again, this is an expensive option, but it does really work. So we've talked about why it's important to get reviews. We've talked about ways that you can get reviews. And so now you're starting to get them and you are getting some good ones, which is great. And the next thing you need to do is respond to those reviews. So for positive reviews, you don't need to reply to every reviewer with like a long thank you, but it is appreciated and it does go a long way and it does help with engagement and it does help with business ranking and things like that. So you can use responses to share new information or say a new product is coming out. It could be different ways to spread information about your business without just saying thank you, because you don't want to make it too sales focused. They're already a happy customer. But some examples like on the screen, thank you. We hope to see you again soon. Thanks for sharing your experience. We're thrilled to hear you enjoyed your experience. I mean, you can have, maybe like 5 or 10 canned responses that are saved in a document somewhere, and you can just copy and paste them over so that you don't reinvent the wheel every time. You can personalize it. If you have more than 1 or 2 people that are responding to reviews on behalf of your business, I've seen where the person leaving the review will also include their name. So that does add some, personal kind of touch to it. It makes it a little more authentic than just a canned response. My least favorite slide, but one that we have to talk about, is the bad reviews. You kind of just want to, well, what you want to say isn't always the right thing to say. So it's nice to have some reviews that are, or some responses to reviews that you can, copy and paste over, be able to easily edit so that it addresses the situation that the person is talking about. I really wish that I could I don't know, make it easier to respond to negative reviews because they do sting. I know that my clients, when they do get them, it's usually very frustrating for them because there's more to the story usually than what is indicated in the review. When it's an e-commerce business, usually the bad reviews are related to things like shipping or packing or the state that the product arrives in. So some things are out of your control. So it's important to think about what could happen during shipping to avoid some of these things. But, the best thing that you can do really is to respond in a timely manner. Customers really do appreciate a prompt response. So I would make a point to check your reviews pretty regularly, and we'll talk about some ways that you can do that here in a moment. Also, most importantly, stay professional and be courteous. Never lash out and avoid taking the review personally, even though it does sting. Really understand your customer's experience with your business before responding. If someone mentions the problem with the product or service, maybe investigate to see what might have gone wrong. Be honest about mistakes made, steps you've taken or will take to remedy the situation. When people are going through and reading reviews, having that kind of information in the response is really helpful for them. You shouldn't have to say sorry all the time, but you should apologize when appropriate, but don't take responsibility for things that weren't your fault. Just show compassion, show empathy for the customer. That goes a long way. Offer to talk it over. If this isn't the first time you're hearing about the complaint, invite the customer to email or call so you can really try to sort out the matter. That's another reason why reviews are really helpful. Maybe you notice that there are some trends with what people are providing as feedback. And so there's something in your process that could be adjusted to make things better. And really just show you're authentic, show that you're genuine. Sign off with your name, like I said, or initials to show you're taking the matter seriously and that the person that is responding is real and that they are listening. And while you may want to remove a negative review, Google and Facebook won't remove a review unless it violates their content policy. And that's when something like fake, illegal, or offensive is included in the feedback or the content. There is a way that you can report that and flag it, and they'll investigate it. As a side note, there have been a lot of phishing schemes with online reviews lately that I've noticed. So just be a little bit wary sometimes of like, this doesn't seem right or this doesn't apply. There have been some phishing schemes, and you can flag those and they will investigate and remove. So with responding to reviews, really you're going to learn as you go. In general, responding to reviews, both positive and negative, shows you're an engaged business owner and that you care not only about your business, but also about your customers. Of course, we'd like all of our reviews to be 100% positive all the time, but even the best run, most customer focused business is going to receive a bad review from time to time. So when a negative review comes in, use it as a learning experience for how to improve your business in the future and showcase your responsiveness. It's all about the responsiveness. Respond calmly and honestly and openly. The way you'd respond to a negative situation really can reflect positively on your business. And a thoughtful post-review interaction can even encourage the customer to update their review. So that's why I gave this example on the screen. It might be kind of tiny on your screen. I'm not sure. I can read it to you. It says, let's see, this person says, I was a huge fan of Chobani yogurts. In fact, I would routinely talk people out of buying other brands while we were chatting in the store, but it seems to taste almost rancid. The sour taste is almost overwhelming. I didn't used to taste like it didn't used to taste like that during the fall, and it's fresh, expires next month. Well, they said, Shabani said, oh no, sounds like one of our cups slipped past quality control. Would you mind private messaging us the information? Yada, yada, yada. So I thought that that was a good example to show. They actually went back and forth, and he or she responded a little bit later and said, hey, it was an issue with the refrigeration or with the batch. It wasn't Chobani, and they updated their review. And I thought that that was really great. So if you still need some inspiration on how to respond to reviews, I prepared a handout for you, and you can get that in the email that's going to be sent to you tomorrow, and along with the link to this presentation. The handout shares an example of how to respond to a positive review, a no text positive review. So that's if someone just leaves stars and no words. Then a negative no text review, which bothered the heck out of me because I really yearn for more details personally. And then lastly, an example of how to respond to a neutral review and a negative review. But before we move on, I'd love to hear if any of you have had any customers respond to reviews, or like, have you had any feedback or where people leave reviews for your business, or maybe you're just getting started, but would like to know more about your experience with reviews and feedback. So if you could type that into the chat, that would be awesome. And we'll read some of those before we move on. Any reviews yet? Maybe you're just getting started. Let's see. Shaughnessy says Google reviews. Jordan, minimal interaction with reviews. Yes. Are there any review platforms you recommend? That's a great question, Allegra. Let's see. I think, you know, obviously Google is a super easy one. Facebook also has reviews, depending on the type of business. There's, Yelp is another one. There are so many different places for reviews. It really depends on the business, the type of business, where you're selling your products. If you use a platform to sell online that's separate from your website, usually there's a review left with, how people like the product and how fast it arrives and how nicely it arrives. I'm thinking Etsy for something like that. But there are all different platforms to receive reviews. And then, like I said, there's third-party platforms that can solicit reviews for you as well. Jordan says they're guilty of going to Yelp before visiting a business. Yes, feels like if someone takes the time to review, it's more legitimate. Jordan, I'm with you, especially when it comes to restaurants. When we're traveling, I don't just look at the stars, the number of stars, but I also look at the quantity of reviews. And then I also look at how recently they reviewed it. So those are some indicators that I look at when we're searching for food. Same goes with, for travel, when we stay different places, things like that. Reviews through massage book platform, but now that I'm working for myself, those reviews are attached to the other business, not myself. I'm wanting to start with Google reviews. Yep, Google really is kind of the biggest and most accessible review platform, I guess. It's just really important to keep your business information updated, keep your hours updated, make sure if you are brick and mortar, that you have a physical address listed on there, and that you, keep all the information updated. All right, so tips to get more out of your reviews. We already learned this, but it's worth saying again. Responding to reviews will help you increase your digital content even more and receive some SEO or search engine optimization in the process. But you'll also have an opportunity to show your personality and legitimize the reviews that are coming in. So if you receive a negative review by responding, you're making an effort to fix this for them, and you may get the reviewer to edit or remove their review entirely, which again will have a positive impact on your business overall. My mentality is that you should always respond to reviews, even if it's simply an effort to thank someone for taking the time to leave one in the first place. So you can turn good reviews into additional content. We could all use ways to receive additional content. The example on the screen is from Clean Right, who I have the opportunity to work with on some marketing efforts. And we have a template that we use to showcase reviews and testimonials that we push out on their social media throughout the month. And so this was one that I gave an example of, but it's a great opportunity to turn good reviews into additional content. You can leverage your positive reviews and turn them into content that will fulfill some of your digital marketing goals. Maybe it's something like Testimonial Tuesday, where it's a post where you share reviews, or maybe it's sharing happy customer Instagram posts to your stories and thanking them for purchasing. That's another great way to do it. And then if you're still not convinced that making the effort to get more reviews is worth it, let the numbers do the talking by tracking your SEO, search engine optimization progress. You can track the week after launching your efforts, a month after launching your efforts, and so forth. And you'll probably see a gain with your increased reviews. And as you drive more traffic to your website, hopefully it also leads to more sales, because making any dollars you spent to get more reviews will make it feel totally worth it. Once you started collecting customer reviews, you can sprinkle them throughout the sales cycle. You can give shoppers a dose of social proof when they might have an objection or they're a little weary about buying. Most retailers benefit from displaying their reviews on things like their product page, social media, social ads, website. You can add reviews to relevant product pages alongside each product description so customers can browse perspectives from people with the same attributes as them. That's a huge one with online shopping, and I wanted to really make sure that all of you in the e-commerce business world understood that. When we talked about websites to use for e-commerce a few weeks back, there are all sorts of page templates for your products and content blocks that you can add in. The reviews is really helpful. Let's see, which one is it? The one in the middle, the top middle one, where it says reviews and questions, 96% of reviewers would recommend this product to a friend. This is a screenshot from the bottom of the product page where it actually shows the reviews for this specific product, as well as customer photos that were sent in using the product. And so that's at the bottom of the product page, and that's pretty huge. Social media, 3/4 of consumers buy products they see in social media posts. So you can show off reviews and feeds and stories. This one for Love Corn, they have an entire story highlight dedicated to customer reviews on Instagram. So they, screenshot and share on the stories and tag the folks, and that's kind of cool. So that was another way to get people to see like, oh, hey, that's really good. I want to buy that. Social ads, reviews add authenticity and social proof to your ads and digital marketing efforts. Blenders Eyewear, I've fallen prey to their social media marketing and own a few of their sunglasses. They do a good job with that, but they generated a 2x, hear that, 2x higher click-through rate by simply adding star reviews to their ads. I actually bought them because they said in one of the reviews that I know this one says fit amazing, but I think the one that caught my attention and made me click through and then I ended up buying it was something about like the sport grip on the nose so it doesn't move when you're running. And I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I need. And now I have 2 pairs. So it definitely worked for me. Maybe it might not work for you, but I would give it a try and see, what kind of results you get from your analytics and your sales. Website, give shoppers a dedicated page where they can go to read all the customer reviews. This way, you can also boost your SEO efforts by targeting keywords with your brand and reviews. If you want to see a great example, Patagonia, they have a dedicated reviews page. It has more than 185,000 reviews for shoppers to browse. It's pretty amazing. I went there and I was looking at the reviews and it just kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and you can do some filtering and things like that. But that's a ton of reviews and I leave them all on there. So super duper helpful. All right, I see some things in the chat. Let me switch over there real quick. Allegra says, can you link Google reviews to your product page, or is that done through the web store? It depends on the e-commerce platform that you're using, but there should be an integration where you can include that. There are integrations I know with WordPress where you can include that as well. So yes, there are options to be able to do that. It just depends on your platform and what type of integrations there are. Any other questions? That was a great question. Or feedback. Have you, one of the things as a business owner, as you're putting your e-commerce together, is think about you as a consumer, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what have you, been what have you been a target of, like with the blenders I wear, where I think, oh, wow, that really worked for me. And so I've tried some of that in some of the marketing that I've done with businesses before, and it's worked for them too. So when you see things like this, take a screenshot, make a note about it, and see how you can incorporate that into your digital marketing strategy. But would love to hear if there's other examples of things that you've seen that stood out to you, whether positive or negative. And put it in the chat, please. Any feedback? Well, while you're thinking about that, we are coming to the end of the presentation, but that's my next slide, but I'm gonna come back here. But before we wrap up, if there aren't any other questions or feedback, there are ways that you can aggregate reviews so that you're not always having to log into every platform every day to check things out. There are third-party platforms that aggregate everything together. So you just have one login, it will show you reviews for every place that you have connected to it. That's really useful. It does come with a small cost, but it does make it really easy to keep everything in one place. You can also, what I've seen some businesses that I work with do, they have something called internal systems day or hour or half hour. It just depends on how much time and how many people you have, but it's a block of time that they schedule each week or every couple of days to be able to go through and check reviews, check the status of all their digital platforms, and make sure everything is running quickly. And so that is a great thing to try to initiate in your business and make sure you're keeping up on replying to reviews. Shaughnessy says, I think I'll really get into your reviews. Never done that before. Is there a location to view previous sessions? Yes, Kenyatta, there is. I believe Jordan can connect you with that. Maria, what about if you submit a review on a product and don't receive a response? Then you submit a complaint to the Better Business Bureau and they still don't respond. Any questions? That is a good question. Let me do some digging for Better Business Bureau. I'll see if I can get your contact information from Jordan and follow up with an email. That way, we can help you out with that. Also asks, is there don'ts on sharing reviews from Google and Facebook? Are you meaning like do's and don'ts of sharing reviews? Um, I would say, obviously anything positive is good to share. I don't really see people sharing negative reviews, but more importantly, being able to respond to negative reviews and, kind of going through some of the steps that we talked about. The handout that you'll get tomorrow will also have some helpful tips for responding to positive and negative reviews, as well as reviews that don't have words and just stars, which, I'm always a little confused why people don't include the words, but maybe they were busy and just included the stars. Um, let's see. Oh, Jordan said, we'll include YouTube playlists in the follow-up email tomorrow. Perfect. What are some of the third-party platforms that combine the reviews? Great question. So I use a social media platform called Sprout Social. It does come with a cost, but that's how I manage all of my social media accounts and all the review accounts as well. That way there is a one-stop shop for everything, and I can print out some good reports that way. If you look up reputation management or online reputation management, there are a variety of different companies that offer kind of a platform to aggregate reviews from all different places. Some are very expensive and definitely for very large businesses and organizations. Some are not as expensive, but I like the opportunity to be able to bundle some other services in there besides just reputation management. If it also can give you some good analytics on your social media efforts, that's really helpful too. You can set up and Google a way to include your business name. And so it will give you an email. You could set up how often you want that email to come to you, and it will tell you Google Alerts. That's what it's called. It will give you an alert, an email every time your business is mentioned. That's pretty helpful too. That way you can kind of see if there are other places besides the typical review platforms that are mentioning your business. But yes, reputation management, digital online reputation management. If you Google that, there's dozens and dozens of different companies at different price points. Yep. I think I got to all of the questions. I don't know, Jordan, did I miss any as they were coming in?
I don't think so. We had someone go back and fix a typo. They just said that they think they'll start replying to reviews now and that they had never done that before.
Yes, always a good thing to do that, even if it's super short. But the more you respond, the responsiveness does make an impact, both with the search engines and with your customers.
And then I had just asked a question, and I see this a lot on like beauty product sites like Ulta and stuff like that. I see a lot where the review will say this review was essentially like traded for the product. So what are your thoughts on when companies do that, whether it's a large business or a small business, but the product is given so that they can test it and try it before reviewing?
Oh yeah, I mean we see that a lot with brand ambassadors or people that are involved in some way. Either they might not be paid, but they're paid in product. And so generally there's some kind of little caveat or asterisk or something that mentions that is what took place. When I was I guess it was called a brand ambassador for a swimming shampoo and conditioner. They sent me a whole bunch of products for me to use and share with my teammates that I swim with, and we gave reviews and showed pictures and things like that. And we were a part of their website separate from the rest of the reviews. They had a whole section that was just for this type of review. So they kept them separate from everybody else's. But it was a great way to build community because we started to recognize a lot of other people from other teams that were using it. And that was a clever way to build trust, knowing that you kind of knew the other people using it. So that was kind of cool. That was a clever use of, we weren't paid for it, but we got the product. So an ambassadorship of the product.
Thank you. We did have a question. I actually want to read it out loud to you so that everyone hears it in case they don't have their chat box open, because I do think it's a good question. Someone says, I had a bad situation with an attorney that I hired. I wanted to write an honest review, but I'm afraid they would sue me for defamation, even though I can prove what I wrote was true, and I have proof. What are your thoughts?
Oh, that's a really great question. Most of my experience has not been with service-based providers like attorneys or accountants. They've mostly been with e-commerce businesses or product-based businesses. I think there are ways that you could submit a review that's more so to like the would it be like the Illinois bar or the association that oversees attorneys, where you can submit something to them. I mean, that's going a step above, and it's not a public forum style of feedback or review, but that could certainly be a place to start. I know let me look into that. I'm curious because I know when I was doing some work with a local service-based business that offered like physical therapy and massage, there was a place that we went to at the state of Illinois' website where you could find people that had the right credentials and certificates to be able to offer those services. And I remember there being a link there where you could submit a complaint. And so my assumption is that there's something similar for, like, say, attorneys or doctors or those types of industries. I'll look into that, Maria, and see if I can find some information for you. Great question. Sorry that happened.
All right, and I'll make sure to get you some information for some of these questions too, so you can follow up with these individuals.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, well, we are going to hang out for a minute or two here and see if any other questions come in, but I do want to thank everyone for joining us and for your great questions that have come in so far. As a reminder, in case you missed the very beginning, you will receive a follow-up email tomorrow, and that will include information where you can get in touch with Natalie, a link to the resources shared today, including a recording of today's session. And then I'm also going to include a link to our YouTube playlist that has all of our small business info sessions on them, including the first 5 parts of this series that we did with Natalie. So if you want to go back and listen to any that you have missed, like I said, there are other sessions on there with other presenters that we have done, but all of these ones are included on that playlist as well. So I will get that sent out to you first thing tomorrow morning. And I don't see any other questions coming in, so we can go ahead and wrap up for the day. I want to thank everyone for joining us, and thank you so much, Natalie, for presenting today and for hosting the entire series with us.
Yep, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all for your time. And yeah, if you ever have any questions, keep my contact info. Happy to help.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us and have a great week. Bye-bye.